My 23th boyfriend, 26th of 10 months, ditched me on our date. So last night my boyfriend and I were meant to go on a date, but it ended up turning into a sort of group thing with mutual friends. I was disappointed seeing as we've barely had alone time and haven't had a date in over 2 weeks. My boyfriend reassured me that he will still make sure a part of it was a date for us and that it will be fun, so I thought, why not? And we headed off to the pub. Things were going great for the most part, but about 1 hour in I had to go to the bathroom. The pub was busy and there was a line in the girls' bathroom, so I waited and I was in and out in about 10 minutes. Well, when I left the bathroom, I couldn't see my boyfriend or our friends anywhere, so I looked for them and I still couldn't find them. I checked my phone and there were no texts from any of them, so I went to the bartender and just asked him if he saw them leave. He said they told him to let me know they left to go to a club, but he couldn't remember which one. I assumed the club we planned to go to. Anyway, I was really hurt by this. I was only gone 10 minutes, so they could have easily waited, and to make things worse, my boyfriend was the one who drove me there, so I either had the option to walk in the middle of the night by myself to get to the club or call for an Uber, which I did. While I waited for the Uber, I sent my boyfriend a text asking him why he didn't wait for me and if they were at the club, but he didn't reply. I even sent a text to my best friend, but she didn't reply either. I called them as well, and again, neither of them answered. Anyway, it took a while for my Uber to arrive, and by this point I was tired, and my boyfriend and my best friend still hadn't answered, so I just ended up going home. I showered, cooked myself some food, and then got ready for bed. By this time, it had been around an hour since I had left the club, and my boyfriend still hadn't replied to any of my texts or answered my calls. I was getting worried that maybe something happened, so I called him again. No answer. I called my best friend, no answer, and I ended up calling 2 other people there, and again, no answer. I ended up going on Facebook and saw one of the friends I had called had uploaded photos of all of them at a totally different club. Not the one we planned to go to. I was so hurt and angry at this point, I just sent my boyfriend a text basically telling him that how horrible it was for him not to even send me a text to let me know where they went, and I told him that for future reference, not to drag me along somewhere, just to ditch me by myself and not even bother to wait for me, or even call me to make sure I am okay. At this point, it really hit me how messed up all this was. Not only did they all ditch me, they went to a different club, so if I had gone to the club we originally planned to go to, I'd be looking for them all night. It also really pissed me off that I was gone for over 1 hour and my boyfriend wasn't worried about me at all. Wouldn't most people be worried that they left their SO at a pub and hadn't seen them in an hour? If situations were reversed, I would have checked my phone and called because I would have been worried. So I ended up going to bed, and when I woke up, my phone was flooded with texts from my boyfriend. He apologized, saying the bartender was meant to tell me where they went and they couldn't hear the phones in the club. I replied back to him saying how messed up it was that he left me and how thoughtless he was by not even sending me a text. I told him it was ridiculous for him to rely on a bartender who was extremely busy to tell me something he should have told me himself. He texted again telling me he is sorry, that he didn't mean to ditch me as well as a bunch of other excuses and apologizes, but honestly they just annoyed me more. Now I'm not sure if I'm overreacting and making a big deal out of nothing. I'm also not sure if I should sort this out with my boyfriend and forgive him for this, or if I should just dump him. I'd really appreciate any advice. TLDR. My boyfriend and I were meant to go on a date, but instead went to a pub with friends where they ended up ditching me and ignored all my calls, texts when I got worried. He sent me a bunch of texts apologizing, but now I'm not sure if I should forgive him or dump him. Relevant comments. Palmsabir. You're not overreacting. What they did was unbearably rude and inconsiderate. You may want to rethink your choice of boyfriend and best friend. Blue X-Cat. Man, I would dump them all. Sadife. Oop. I'm seeing him tonight and giving him a chance to explain in person, but I'm pretty certain that I'm going to end the relationship. Blue X-Cat. I don't even see what explanation could make this okay. Like, for real. If they were gone to the hospital, okay, but they were clubbing and abandoned you. Save me Barry 67. That is absolutely ridiculous behavior. I guess maybe if things have been completely perfect until now, then maybe you guys can get past it. But most reasonable people would be fucking done after something like that. Up! Things haven't been that perfect. I had problems with one of his female friends making very passive-aggressive comments towards me, and he would just downplay them or get annoyed when I defended myself. He also told her something private about me, that I told him in confidence, but this happened early on in the relationship. I think I'm definitely done. It sucks, but I don't think I can forgive for what he did. Urpa updated the post next day. Edit update. I've been texting one of my friends that was there last night, and she admitted that they all ditched me on purpose. They all decided at the pub that they wanted to do some hard drugs, and they thought I'd kill the mood and that I'd be uncomfortable, so, rather than doing the decent thing and giving me a heads up, they decided to completely ditch me and ignore me. Rather than wait to see him tonight, I called my boyfriend to see if he would admit to it, and he did. He said they were doing me a favor, and he knows I have a bad family history with drugs. 3 family members died from overdoses, which I still think is a poor excuse for what they did. They could have just been honest with me rather than basically abandoning me at the pub. I also asked him why he ignored me, and he just said he wanted to enjoy himself without feeling guilty. He kept apologizing, but I was just done at that point. I broke up with him, and it's safe to say I will also be ending my friendships with my so-called friends. In all honesty, I wouldn't care if they were doing drugs as long as they were safe. In fact, I would have liked to be there just so I could keep an eye on them and make sure they stayed out of trouble, but oh well.